Yes, you're right. I did use AI, but the difference is, and I will show you shortly, in what I was using in that video. Now, this is ChatGPT. This is also an AI. This is an open source AI. It pulls from everything, okay? But we're just talking about the Bible. You don't own anything. You can never own anything. Because why? God owns it all. It says in Psalms 24:1, King James Version, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Deuteronomy 10:14, behold, the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God, the earth also, with all therein is. Job 41:11, whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. God owns wealth and material goods. The silver is mine, the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. Psalms 50:10 through 12. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountain and the wild beasts. You're getting the point. But what? We are supposed to be stewards, not owners. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. The word dominion doesn't mean ownership. The word dominion in the Hebrew means rulership or control. Rulership can be also mean steward, manager. First Chronicles 29:14, and all things come of thee, and of thine own we have have we given thee. Even when we give offerings, we are returning what is already God's. Okay, so this is what people don't understand. And follow the logic of it. If God owns it all, then there's two problems. The first sin in Genesis that Eve committed, that the devil tempted Eve with, was to be their own God. And has that not been the plight of mankind ever since? So if you were trying to say, I want to own something, are you saying you are your own God instead of being a steward with what God has given you? Okay, this is how I look at it. It makes logical sense. We can't take it with us when we die. The only thing that we actually do own is rights and interest. We have our rights and interest. This is the legal definition of property. People think of property as the tangible item. It's never the tangible item. It's always rights and interest. The legal definition of property most often refers not to a particular physical object, but rather to the legal bundle of rights recognized in that object, which bundle of rights include the rights to possess, use, and dispose of a particular article. The term property embodies more than just physical corporal assets. It can include intangible entities such as rights and interest. As a matter of legal definition, property refers not to a particular material object, but to the rights and interest in an object. And I know you're a smart guy. I know that you read things, you look things up. I do too. I don't just use AI. I'm only using it as a tool because Westlaw now offers it. I know you know what Westlaw is. The app doesn't say Westlaw Precision, it says Westlaw Edge. Westlaw Edge was the previous version, but they don't have an app yet to replace the Edge for Precision. So I look things up on the app when I'm doing things like this sometimes. If not, I use my browser. This is Westlaw Precision. Yes, the AI on this one is different than ChatGPT. It is a closed system. It only pulls from the Westlaw database, which means it is highly accurate, as in finding things within the database. And it will also spit back if it thinks I'm wrong on my premise, because it is pulling from the court cases, the laws, the statutes, everything. So if my understanding is incorrect, it's going to tell me. And then I will go look at what it says and see if it's right. But again, it's not about you. And that's where we've been taking things wrong. Show you a document. We'll come back to this. See right here? Live births, fetal deaths, induced terminations of pregnancies. Look at this first paragraph. New York State excluding New York City. That term live birth is a legal term. Okay? You have live, comma, born, comma, and born alive. Live birth, live born, and born alive are synonymous. Live birth is defined as the complete expulsion or extraction from its mother of a product of conception, irrespective of the duration of pregnancy, which after such separation breathes or shows any other evidence of life, such as beating of the heart, pulsation of the umbilical cord, or definite movement of voluntary muscles, whether or not the umbilical cord has been cut or the placenta is attached. Each product of such a birth is considered live born. Born alive test. Look at the second definition, a showing that an infant at the time of birth was capable of living a separate and independent existence, regardless of how long the infant actually lived. The product of conception, known as the infant and the baby are not the same. It did come out alive, the umbilical cord and the placenta and the tissue, and so did the baby. But the infant died, was placed into probate. This is the Michigan Code. This is the most clearest definition you can find. Products of conception means any tissues or fluids, placenta, umbilical cord, or other uterine contents resulting from a pregnancy. Period. That period means what? Completion of a thought. Products of conception do not include a fetus or fetal body parts. Well, what is a fetus? Latin for baby. So product of conception, the definition does not mean the baby. The problem is we've all believed it did. So that birth certificate gets created, right? Well, the mother signed a contract giving assignment to the hospital over the infant, not the baby. The baby went home with mom and dad and never got announced, never got put in the Bible, never got recorded anywhere, never got named. Why is that? Here's an example of the way it's worded in almost every state. You will not find in any of the state, to my knowledge, dealing with a birth certificate where it specifically is dealing with the baby. It's always dealing with a lost infant of unknown parentage. Okay? A live-born infant at that. There's that legal term again. Person who assumes the custody of a live-born infant of unknown parentage shall report on a form and in a manner prescribed by the state registrar, blah, 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 blah. Remember earlier I said the mother gave an assignment to the hospital over the infant? Look at paragraph C. Name and address of the person or institution with which the child has been placed for care. Infant and child are synonymous. Look at D. Name given to the child by the custodian of the child. The mother takes off the legal hat of mother to finish the contract, and it's not fraud. The mother didn't read it. And she puts on the hat of custodian and names the infant. It has nothing to do with you. Your belief it does is the problem. That's why when I have conversations with these government officials, they do not deny what I'm saying. The conversations I've had would surprise you. And some of them don't know it, some of them do. Yes, it was a trust created. Congress created that trust in 1935 called Social Security. It is their property. The infant dies and a state's created. I've got a video on my YouTube channel and on here where Vital Records says yes, a probate file was created, but we can't discuss our internal policy. Why was a probate file created? Because there was an estate created. And they put that estate into the res. They didn't put you. And the state's the beneficiary of said trust, not you. Because why? It is a charitable trust. A charitable trust is not for the individual, it is for a group or class as a whole. Now, the main beneficiary would be the states. The limited beneficiaries, when you reach retirement or you're disabled, would be you. Those are limited beneficiary statuses akin to a spendthrift trust. No, I take that back. Not a spendthrift trust, a special needs trust. You get those benefits. You don't get the main benefit. Why do you think that the third trustee is Secretary of Health and Human Services? Because the third trustee is who the state goes to under Title II, Title IV, Title V, et cetera, to get their funds. See, when that name was created, you didn't even know what a name was. You had no firsthand knowledge of what a name was. You have no firsthand knowledge who your mother is. 99.9% of everything you think you know, you have no firsthand knowledge. So you're having the conflict internally because the stuff you've learned over the years is conflicting with what you think you know. And if I don't stop, this will turn into a long video. And I may continue this in another video. But yes, I have respect for you, sir. I like your stuff. And I don't have a problem with you. And I think we have the ability to dialogue. We always have. This right here was a 1904 medico-legal study. Live, comma, birth, comma, and live birth. There's that legal term. And it's not a very long study. So even Harvard did a law review on this book. There's even a law review on the law of placenta. See, I don't agree with you when you say it's fraud, and here's why I don't agree when you say it's fraud. Fraud means they intended to hide everything. They didn't hide anything. We just don't look in the right spots. They literally publish everything. They put law libraries in every county of this country before the internet. Every courthouse has a law library. But we thought it was more important to participate in the bread and circus that Rome used to use as gladiator events, and they had their version of welfare. Well, today we have our version of that called sporting events and welfare. We thought it was more important when we were young to do that than study what our rights are. And now we don't like the pressure that's there, and we're pointing the finger at the people in government. Not everybody in government is bad. Am I going to deny there's bad people? There's bad people in everything. The yin and the yang. You've got good and bad in every system. In corporate structures, you in the corporations, you got good and bad people in Microsoft. You got good and bad people in churches. You got good and bad people in lawyers' offices. You got good and bad people in government agencies. That's just the way the nature is. That's the way it is. It's the natural order. But to say it's all fraud, that's not entirely true. So take this for what it's worth, and and we will talk more on it if you'd like.